Hello everybody on YouTube watching this much later. I'm doing Leetcode problems. We'll start with 1589 and 90. Those were two medium problems recommended from the chat on Twitch. Let's go. I will also make some drawings. And if problem is stupid, I will skip it. Every request is some interval. Maximum total sum of all records among all permutations of nums. So the fact that requests are 1 for it means that we take the sum of this interval. 0, 1 means we take sum of this interval. Before we know how the sequence of size 5 is permuted, we know that I will take this interval and this one. So this element will be taken twice. This once, and 0. Then obviously it's good to, this element that is taken twice should be the biggest. Then here, no matter the order, can be 2, 3, 4, and then 1. Biggest number where the biggest multiplier is, where the most time I will take this number. Smallest number here, and the answer I will get is 10 plus 2, 3, 4, 19. A permutation with a higher total sum is 3, 5, yeah, because 5 is taken twice, so, and 2, 3, 4 doesn't matter the order, they are taken once. So the brute force would be, I don't like an array nums. I will change it to A. We can do this. And this is the brute force. For every request, rec of 0 up to rec of I. L and R like left and right. Plus count of I, or like multiplier. This creates that array of 1, 2, 1, 1, and it will get time limit exceeded. In the moment I will modify that to something like prefix sums. Then I should assign, after sorting this, I don't care what is on which position. If I just sort, now I would get sequence 0, 1, 1, 2 for the sample test. And for every I assign numbers from 1 to n, and I will be multiplied by this. They told me to do it modulo billion 7. So let me do it modulo billion 7. And if I run code, I should get accepted on the sample test, but it will be too slow. Answer not created. Partial sums is indeed what we will need in the problem. Yeah, 1919. But I bet if I hit submit, I will get time limit exceeded. I shouldn't do that if I care about my statistics on Leetcode, but I don't care. But I got wrong answer. I'm surprised. Which position get the most? Blah, blah. Yeah, partial sum will make n squared to just O of n, indeed. But wrong answer? How? Why won't I test case? I want to run for this thing. Let me print those values. You're not using the vector at all? Oh, then I'm using numbers from 1 to 5. Well, it should be this. After sorting as well. For some reason I thought that just numbers are from 1 to 5 because that was the sample. It's a bit silly. So let's just go from 0 to n minus 1. So smallest from A we match with smallest of count. 47, 47. I don't need this print. Generally prints are slow, so avoid them if possible. And then the final thing is to add to interval. Add one to interval quickly. And this term is called prefix sums, partial sums. Just like when you need to answer queries about sum from interval, in a similar way we can add to interval. I will, instead of doing this, I will just do count of L plus plus, count of R plus 1 minus minus, unless I get outside of the array. And what does it do after we compute prefix sums? I want this to be equivalent to the code I had a moment before. Count of I plus equal count of I minus 1. And I will explain that in a moment. Just let me see that this works. Need drawings. Accepted. Where should I be? YouTube? Maybe I should create a category for which, whatever. What did I do? If I want to add number 5 to this interval, 5, 5, 5, 5, then instead of doing that with brute force, I will add 5 here, and later I will compute prefix sums or partial sums. I go from left to right, and at every position I want the sum of everything so far. In particular, this position, it will get plus 5 for this. But I want this only to this moment. In some way I need to here say I stop adding plus 5. So I want minus 5 here. This will cancel with 5. If there is also, let's say, I also want to add 2, 2, 2, 2, then I will add 2 here and minus 2 there to stop it. And now how are prefix sums computed? I go from left to right and I put 0, 0, 5, 5, sum of everything so far. 5 plus 2, 7. What to put here? It's 7 plus 0, 7. 7 plus minus 5, 2. 2 plus 0, 2. 0, 0. And that's indeed a correct answer if I wanted to add 5 to one interval and 2 to the other interval. You don't have subscribe and donate options? I don't. I'm not an affiliate. Following you since 2018-19. Good for you. Then you should learn a lot by now. So that's called prefix or partial sums if you want to read more about it. Prefix. If you didn't get that already today, it's not an advanced stream. I will do Leetcode problems, and my target audience here is people preparing for coding interviews. While if you join me on Thursday, there will be more difficult problems. That will be more of competitive programming. Can you send solution link too? Is that really needed? You see that on the screen. It's not really beneficial for you to copy paste it or something. You will be able to later rewind the stream if you want. I don't know. If you chat think that you really need codes, I will put that in GitHub, but I don't think that's necessary. That was first problem. Now 1590. Pasting link in the chat. Make sum divisible by p. So remove the smallest sub-array such that the sum of remaining elements is divisible by p. It is not allowed to remove the whole array. That's a very stupid and artificial condition, if you think about it. With this sentence, they just say, instead of printing n, remove the whole array, print -1. This just adds an if and makes the statement more complicated. What's the point? Yeah, sometimes Leetcode lacks experienced problem setters to just think about something. Like, I mean, yeah, in coding interviews also sometimes the statement will be stupid, but that will be easily resolved. Here, if it's code, then it's just about adding an extra if instead of printing n, print -1. My online class is so loud I can't listen. Yeah, you can maybe turn off the sound over there, or like move the volume down. And anyone know how to mute Zoom without muting the whole system? I don't know. Pink boy, you can read FAQ and this. Whenever we have something to do with subarray, sum of elements in subarray, you should always think about prefix sums. I didn't click that. If we have this and we want to remove some subarray, we basically remove the partial sums, prefix sum up to r minus prefix sum up to l-1. This minus that. And what do we do with that? Then they basically ask us, find the shortest subarray such that sum of everything minus sum of this is divisible by p. This is maybe a bit overcomplicated, maybe not. Alternative way to think about it is that we want some prefix plus some suffix, and the sum of those two should be divisible by p. That's another way to think about it, that we want prefix up to something, up to some position I, plus suffix from j to the end, divisible by p. And you have those two paths towards a solution, either work with this equation or sentence requirement or this one. Here L and R in this first one denote start and end of subarray. In the second sentence, I means the last element of before removed interval, and then j is here. It's in these cases, usually during a coding interview, you would only get idea of one and you will likely follow it. If you see both, then you should think for half a minute which one seems better. And for me, I think that this one is better, even though it seems more complicated now. Which version do you want? Second or first? Just type 1 or 2 in the chat and we'll try this one. Can somebody tell me what does this mean? Why do I see this in red? Is this like, I don't know, suspicious message or something? I will also open Twitch chat here on the side to sometimes refer to it. First solution. Okay, let's go with first one. Oh, it's just at Errichto. Okay, you're right. It wasn't suspicious message. I see. That makes sense. Is my internet fine? Whenever I need to refer to the chat, I will just open that other window. Errichto triggers it. Okay, yeah, thank you. First solution, you prefer? Then let's go with this one. We want this, and we want to minimize the distance between L and R. I cannot iterate over both because I assume that constraints are big. Yeah, the length is up to 100,000, then quadratic solution is bad. What I can do, though, is I can, again, nums, I don't like the name of nums, this is just better. What is p? This is divisible by p, fine. I can iterate over L and R. If I iterate over L, the bad thing about it is that I should already know something about the suffix. So to quickly here find best R, okay, so it's find the closest R, good with me, but I should then know something about suffix. I would need to do precomputations over here. I don't want to do that, that's some extra work. Instead, I will iterate over R. Because then I don't need to precompute anything first, because once I'm at position 5, I already processed the prefix. So it's easier to here do find best L so far. What I want from this best L? First of all, we start with prefix being 0. Here I will do prefix plus equal a of r, and I care about values modulo p. Instead of using longs, I will do this. If p is 10, I don't care if I have number 7 or 17. That's the same for divisibility by p. I just, this sentence, it just means that this value should, modulo p should be 0. I want now to find good L. Such L that s minus prefix of r plus prefix of L minus 1 divisible by p. So modulo p should be equal to 0. That's my requirement. Let's just say that everything is computed modulo p, so I want this. And I know s and I know prefix of r. Let's precompute s. S is sum of everything. Let's call it sum all. Okay, then I have this condition. And I know those two terms, so I know what prefix of L minus 1 should be. It should be, prefix of L minus 1 is pref of R minus sum all. So I want some previous prefix with this sum. I want prefix of R minus sum all, and this doesn't fully work in programming. If you get negative value, you take modulo, it will still be negative. You need to add p. That's a difference between math and programming. I read FAQ, very informative, thanks. Yeah, more people should read it. Yeah, I want this. Those were just comments. I compute new prefix, and now I want such L that this is true. And I could here iterate over L from 0 to R and check if this is true, if pref of L minus 1 is this. But instead, because I visit every prefix already, I can remember its position. Position. So I will try to get position of want. It's more like this. If position count want. This in C++ checks if this exists in my map, in my dictionary. Then answer, I want this to find me good L. Want say I will print this as a candidate for the answer. And also position of pref is r. For every prefix, if I saw that prefix sum up to position 2 is equal 50, I want to know that position of 50 is 2. I want to know where is this L. In a moment we'll think about overwriting answers. What if the same prefix appears twice? That's important in this problem. And there is some off by 1 error here right now. I need to return the answer. Initially answer is, let's say, what do I want? Remove the smallest subarray. By default it will be n. Here I will minimize. It's minimum of answer. And length of interval from L to R is this. And this is just for debugging purposes. I bet that my answer will be wrong by 1, and I already see why, but I will explain it to you later. Pref of R. Oh yeah, the pref is the current prefix. I don't have pref of R. Hello Proxy King, welcome back. Why not use binary search to find L? But what is sorted there? We don't have prefix sums, we have prefix sums modulo p. They don't have to be increasing. And I left this. Can you restate the problem, please? I think you're better off reading the statement. Not streaming on YouTube? Indeed. Today is Twitch only, as an experiment. Output 2, expected 1. And I think I know a reason why it will always be off by 1. Because in our formulas there was L minus 1, prefix of L minus 1. So it's a bit wrong to say this. When I have that prefix of, let's say, up to position 2 is 50, this is possible candidate for L equal to 3. Because for L equal to 3 I will care about prefix of L minus 1. So if this is the case, prefix up to position 2 is 50, I need to save it with +1. So that for 50 and 2, I would say position of 50 is 3. And and there will be one more thing I need to do, but I should pass the first sample. Is there a way to run all tests? Anybody knows Leetcode better than I do? I think I need to copy paste like that. I also need obviously this because they require that in the problem. If I want to remove the whole subarray, then print -1. So print the last thing. Are those the same? Wait. I skipped something. First. Oh yeah, this is second. If you go to second last contest and use that question view, you can run all sample test cases. That's not the best possibility. One, two, -1, 1, 1. Okay, for two last things, I have wrong answer. For two last tests. Let's work with one of those. Let's start with this one. For this array, I should say 0. But my output is -1, while they say the sum of everything is divisible by 3. And what is that good pair? The good pair is L equal to 0, R equal to 2. Nope. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Yeah, L equals 0, R equal 2 is the pair I'm looking for. And the thing is, I never consider L equal to 0. This is, first I consider the first number. Let's say that A of 0 is 50. A of 0 is 10. Then I say position of 10 is 1. But what about L being equal to 0? I need, and you very often need that in problems with prefix sums, to also say what happens for empty thing. So we need to say this. Position of 0 is 0. This means that if I want to subtract prefix with sum equal to 0, that's possible. And this happens if we start with L equal to 0. This should fix this test. Oh, because actually there is one more issue here. What I fixed was still an issue, but also if the sum is already good, then I don't need to find, my program now finds the shortest non-empty interval to remove. If sum modulo p is already 0, so the sum of everything is divisible by p, you don't need to return anything. Let me test this thing because I had the wrong answer earlier for this one. 7. Yeah, submit. And this should get accepted, but there is one more thing I didn't explain. Yeah, accepted. There is big runtime, maybe because I print. If I remove the printing, because printing is quite slow, maybe we'll get the normal, a bit slower. You can also try an ordered map, but it's not that an ordered map is much better. Also, if you're preparing for coding interviews, don't care about running time too much. It works. Unordered map was here twice faster because it doesn't have logarithm, but I don't like unordered maps because theoretically somebody could create hash collisions. It's only expected linear. This can also be speed up a little bit more. If you know C++, then you shouldn't make those two operations separately. You should only once use find or something like that. But that doesn't matter. That's only about C++. The main difficulty of such problems is that you're supposed to write the correct solution on the whiteboard and you're not allowed to test it. Yes, but the good thing is you aren't penalized that much if your solution is wrong. You won't get 0 points if you miss up a single case. There's even a chance that your interviewer won't see a mistake unless you then rewrite this and you check with tests. How are you making sure of multiple values in the map? Yes, that's the thing I didn't explain. And here it's very important whether we want to minimize or maximize length of interval, because the solution should be different in those two cases. When there is some prefix, let's say prefix up to 2 is 50 and prefix up to 6 is also 50. And now if I considered both of those and I'm at now position r equal to 8, then which of those two is better for me to match? If I need 50, I need to subtract 50 because according to equations from the very beginning, I need to subtract 50 to be divisible by p. Then it's better for me to match with 6. L equal to 6 gives me shorter interval, so better in terms of the problem than 2. So it's good to overwrite. So what happened here, this line, what it does is if there was already some value for this prefix, like 50, I overwrite it. But this should be different if we want to maximize length of interval. If we want to maximize, then I would need to here say if position dot count of pref is 0, then override. This would mean only if this doesn't exist in the map, then do it, otherwise don't. That would be a solution for longest subarray, and this was a correct solution for smallest subarray. And that's the end of the solution. We can move on. Suggestions from the chat? What should I do? We click on test this. Just we'll use contains key in C++. Oh, is there contains in C++20? The set, let's say set contains. Yes, I will certainly use it. During programming contests, I use this. Let's say I have a set. Then I just do this, if s count of 5, to check if 5 exists. This is a short for if s count is not 0, so also equivalent for a set with this, but it's a bit ugly. And for multisets, by the way, it's slow. For multisets, this count is linear. But sure, if I can replace it with contains, and if it is true or false, then I will switch. But I'm not going to do it anytime soon, because online platforms, they need some time to get to new C++. Like, even if a single platform introduces C++20, still, if I learn to use contains, I will get compilation errors in different platforms. Now it's good time to use C++17. In 2 years, I will start using C++20. What I need to first learn to use is tie, because something like this is possible to kind of deconstruct a pair, right? No, not deconstruct, to just get elements from pair, or something similar. I still don't use it. Can we do some hard problems, please? Says StylePoint. There are some hard problems even on Leetcode. Yeah, they are, indeed. Yes, you can suggest something difficult. What about just going to problems? I thought that this problem was hard. It wasn't hard if you know prefix sums. It was very standard for prefix sums, both of those problems. Small acceptance rate and hard difficulty. No, let's maybe take something very recent. Those are the most recent ones. Is everything locked? Oh no, frequency is locked. Not really interview material. 1397. Oh, you mean problem 1397? If it's not really interview material, then I will skip. Today, let's focus on something possible to exist in interviews. In a particular, I don't like Leetcode difficult DP problems. I do them very quickly, and for me it's good if they appear in Leetcode contest, but they don't really appear in interviews. I don't know, this one, minimum cost to connect to groups. Have you seen Google interview coding questions? Yes. You know, I spent already a good, at least few hundred hours. I don't know if I got to 1,000. Maybe. On coding interview research in general. So yes, I saw some. I've seen some Google interview questions. Because Winterlore Games suggests this, interviewbit.com, but I will first do Leetcode problems. I think I already saw this exact page, because I once did a stream with research on, in particular, interviewbit.com, just to see what is this platform, what it contains. So unless this is a fresh new page, I also saw this video. I know problem gas station, I know this problem, I know this problem, I don't know this one. no this one, this one, this one. I guess I also for no regular expressions. So you know, those are standard problems, not only asked about from Google. Let's see this, but I will skip if it's stupid. For example, maybe this is about a spanning tree. I don't know if I want to cover spanning tree now. I guess this isn't prime interview material because it's related to bit masks. Bit masks can occur in coding interviews. Maybe DP with bit masks will not occur. I will read the statement. Given two groups of points, first one is bigger. Cost of connection. The groups are connected if each point in both groups is connected to one or more points in the opposite group. Okay, if n is up to 20, then okay, that's one of those very boring problems for a competitive programmer. This is basic. I don't know if I want to cover it, but if you know how to do traveling salesman problem in O of 2 to n, this is basic brute force, times n square, I think it is, then it's the same thing, where it's dp of a mask, bit mask of already covered things. And here we will go with elements one by one from one group, and we will know what is important so far, so what is the set of connected vertices on the other side. Do you want, chat, do you want me to do this problem, or do we skip? This has very low chance of occurring in interviews. Skip, skip, skip. Okay. Easy choice. Mm, 1591 is a decent interview question, though. So far, Obito, you said reasonable things, so I will believe you. SM Sagarand Wine. I will later check your link. This one. There is a strange printer with the following two special requirements. Print a solid rectangular pattern of a single color. The same color cannot be used again. Check if it's possible. I immediately know the main trick, I guess, that we should do this process backwards. Because I've seen like 10 problems about putting a stamp on something. Same is in one dimension or in 2 dimensions. If you multiple times take a stamp and modify a string in some way, let's say what happens is we have a string initially with just dots, and we have a stamp with, let's say, this pattern and another one with this one, DEDAC, and multiple times we put them here, like let's say this ABC AB, and now we can partially cover it. So I will put DE, let's say here, DEDAC, and I continue doing so. Now maybe on the first 5 positions, ABC, AB, and so on and so on. If you look at the final string, it's very difficult to say what was the first move of ours. Actually here I completely covered this string here. There isn't a single character left. But what is true for if we look at this, if we are given this in the input, is that we can find one occurrence of one string. We can find the last move. The only thing we can find here for this final situation, this final state, is we will find at least one substring of length 5 and we can say that one of those substrings, because there might be many, they can overlap, but one of those is the final move. And whenever you have stamps, do the process backwards. Now, about this problem. Do you have any videos on YouTube when you solve easier beginner problems? Easier than today? Not really. I recently started at least marking my lectures a little bit. You will see here easy, easy. So for recent lectures, you can start with those two, but they are for competitive programming. It's not for coding interviews. You can, but in Errichto 2 channel, maybe Control F and finding word easy. No, nothing is easy. But if you Control F hard, you will find some maybe hard problem solvings. Add coder easy. Here you go. No, not really. You will not find a lot of easy problems on my channel. Regarding now this problem, strange printer. We're given this final grid. Let's say this one. This is in the input. I can find one full rectangle with one color, and this will be 5 or 4. Now I can say that this is the last move, and I don't care what was there before. If I copy this, what I will do is I will say, yeah, this rectangle is final. I can say that this is the last move, and then just turn all of this white. Turn all of this white. White means, let's say, a valid, it's a question mark. Same here, because it's a full thing. And now we are looking for such a rectangle with one color only, that it's one color, but also possible white cells. And here this will be something valid. This contains all threes, so I will not miss any three. And it is possible that this is the next move, going from the end. My solution will say that this is the last move, second last move, or the other way around. Then this is third last move. Just as long as I first remove this, start going from the end, then I can say this was the previous move. Because indeed, it's possible that this grid was created by first putting threes and then fours. Okay. So go from the end, mark cells like that, look for big rectangle, not big, just rectangle containing all occurrences of a single digit, and it's okay if it has only those digits and some white cells. After that, turn this white as well, and now we have this. If they have a drawing for that, let's consider one more rectangle where there is no solution. I can just create it. Let's say that there is 3, I mean not 3, those are colors. Let's say blue, red, and white. Not white, yellow. Let's say this is the input. What my solution will do is it will first find this rectangle with only blue, then it changes it into white. White matches everything, and now I cannot find a rectangle containing only red and white or only yellow and white. I don't have any move here, and I say no, it's impossible to reverse the process. There can be non-rectangular region, right? Like 3S. I don't get you. You can put a grid in the chat, like, you know, just type 1 to 1, let's say. The grid above would be red, yellow, red. Then next row is yellow, blue, red, and so on. You can like this give me the grid and I will analyze it if you have some doubts. Questions you are talking about? Oh, is there a Leetcode problem for stamping the sequence? Yeah, if so, then likely this is a good first problem you should solve before the one about colors and grids. All moves of the same color are done simultaneously. You can make only one move for one color. That was the statement. Once the printer has used a color for the above operation, the same color cannot be used again. Without this, we could just say that every cell is painted separately. Do you think you can solve this in n square? Oh, I don't know. I can try, because limits are low here. N square. I think n squared times polylog, maybe, with some two-dimensional segment tree. So, well, what will we do? I will start implementing the slow solution, where repeatedly I'm looking for that grid with just one color. And seeing this code should help us see what is needed to be, what we need to do to improve it to just n square. Because I need to do this while true. Are colors from 1 to something? Yes. Also, this is additional condition where we only need to repeat 60 times. So theoretically there could be, let's say that the grid is n by n. There could be n square rectangles, like just single colors, cell by cell. So maybe n squared times we will remove a rectangle, going through the whole grid and doing this. So this would be then the complexity of brute force, kind of our solution, not brute force. But because they guaranteed that the number of moves, the number of colors is just this, we have complexity colors times n squared, or actually n times m, where colors is this value. So this is our solution, and the question later is, can we remove colors from the complexity? Let me change this into grid. I will denote height and width as h and w. I'm looking for such a subrectangle that there is only one color and maybe white. White will be equal to 0. I can iterate over the starting cell. And very slow brute force will be now to iterate over the other corner for row 2, for col 2. And now check this rectangle from corner row col to the other corner row 2 col 2. Go through it and check if it has only one color and some white cells maybe, and there is nothing outside of it with this color. But this is for sure very slow, and I need to check if outside there is something. So what about doing something else? For every this color is grid of row col. For every color I want to find a bounding box. Sparse grid in all of colored cells. Given a color, you can already find the rectangle, right? Yeah, the only possible rectangle for any color will be the bounding box. Bounding box is kind of like convex hull, just in with horizontal and vertical line. Like here, for free, the bounding box is how much I can make it, how should I surround this with vertical and horizontal lines. So find the maximum row, column, and so on. Max row of this color is max of itself, comma row. Min row of this color now the same for column, same for column. I don't like the fact that color is this almost the same word as column. I'm quite likely to make a mistake because of that. Okay, so if I had some number of colors, here I will have max row of colors. This could be computed as maximum value in the grid initially. Max rows by default will be -1, max column the same. Min row is by default infinity. Do I want to care about H and W? This seems dangerous. Let me use instead infinity, billion plus 5. I don't want to mess up width and height. Now I found a bounding box, so for every color I have a candidate to remove. And now I'm looking for such a color that inside your bounding box there is only this your color. And the thing I already did can be updated. I don't need to redo it, because actually I can do it just once for every color. The bounding box for a color doesn't change. So this is linear part of size of the grid. Some color will stop existing completely, and that's fine. Now, for every color, let's say that C is color. If this is not yet removed, or maybe if it exists. Let's say that if max row of something is -1, then it doesn't exist. Go through the whole grid, through the subrectangle, the bounding box. The question will be whether we can speed up this part. This, sorry for strange formatting. For every row in this subrectangle, for every column, if this cell is not 0, and this 0 means white, already removed, and it's not my color, then awk is false, break. This is Boolean flag. Checking if I can remove this rectangle safely. Let's say that if I add this to a condition in a for loop, it will break once OK becomes false. So all of that actually should be here. I just don't want lines to be moved so much. Better move camera to bottom left. Sorry. I don't think your approach works when a rectangle color is surrounded by a different color. I don't see why. The main point is that, yes, it should work in that case. And what I want to happen, if input has something like this, blue, surrounded by red, it's obvious for us that first printer used red and then blue. And what my solution will detect is that this is a good rectangle of one color only, so we can change it to white. And then this is a good rectangle of red color only. We can change it to white as well. Going from the end, always we can find a position for some stamp somewhere where everything is removed or of proper color. If OK, then two things. I need to mark color as deleted, and additionally I need to mark everything in this rectangle as white. This color is basically destroyed. I will not need to do this explicitly. When checking if something is non-zero, here I can check for destroyed color. But let's say I do it like that. And again, if this, then a moment ago it was either 0 or this special color. Now let's do proper indentation. Is that it? Okay. And now here I need to just check if all colors were removed. Any removed is false. Any exists is false. Two Boolean flags. And if nothing exists, I already removed all the colors, return true. But if nothing removed, then this will keep going. So normally I would make a break here, just return false. Does that seem fine? And I believe this is now size of the grid times color square. Use die instead of color, or that was for, that was, I guess, for my concern about col and color being the same words. Now, Eknerwala asked a question, can we do this in O of size of the grid? Faster than 99%? Likely because it's better complexity than what other people tried. This thing with bounding boxes, it for sure speeds up the solution. I don't have grid square or anything like that. This part, this thing is at most, for every color go through its bounding box. Pessimistically, it going like that is O of grid, height times width. But for real tests, usually this will be faster, This is why you will see here better runtime. But if this is size of the grid, h times w times color, then everything here is O of h times w times the number of colors. And we repeat it some number of times. Every time we remove one rectangle, so it's this. And we will try to improve it a little bit. People during the contest determined bounding boxes, seeing which colors were inside and creating topological ordering or something. But topological ordering, I don't think, it's for sure difficult. I don't think it will be very fast. Maybe it will change the complexity to something like this. For two bounding boxes, let's try to get better complexity. If one bounding box is like this, and the other is like that, can this happen? I think it can. If in the input this is red cell, blue, 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 yellow, yellow, yellow. This is perfectly fine, and then it doesn't matter what is the order of those two. Just that if this is blue, then blue must go before yellow. For a cell, I need to say that color of this cell must go before anything where bounding box contains me. So if there is a blue cell in the input, and I see that yellow has this bounding box, red has this bounding box, blue has this bounding box, and green has this, then I don't really care about blue bounding box here. I just need to say blue color must be done, going from the end, before red and yellow. Green doesn't matter. Green doesn't contain this blue cell. Remove green. Blue doesn't matter. I just need to say blue must be considered before red and yellow. Yeah, just make dependency graph and then find cycle. But this dependency graph can have size of c square. And still, even with c square size, maybe there will be no cycle. If there is, like, it will be like bunch of vertices, c over 2, c over 2, and all the edges. And this can be achieved, for example, by doing a bunch of single cells in the middle, like this color occurs only in this cell, and then building something around it, like this. Let's say one, then there will be white here, so this bounding box. Then there will be another color. I don't really have other colors, but imagine that yellow is another color. Then this bounding box, and so on. Just keep expanding. Well, this is only for small. This is how I can achieve something like size of the grid over 2 square edges. Maybe actually it can be proved that if it's w times h square, maybe then for sure it's impossible. I'm not 100% sure about this. But maybe we don't need to build this graph of dependencies if we want better complexity. Maybe we can just improve this thing. Will, theoretically, I don't want to implement it, but maybe can this be done with a two-dimensional segment tree? I will in a moment move to the next problem. Sorry about this. Just give me 5 minutes. For a subrectangle is actually divided by 4 values. So this is like a 4-dimensional being. When we remove a color, for the starting grid we can use some two-dimensional prefix sums, and then for every color we know if it is a good starting color. Now when we remove something, it might trigger some other subrectangles to become empty of other colors. But for that, for every cell I'm changing to white, I would need to say, hey, all subrectangles containing me, your number of bad cells, decrease it by 1. No one will ask you to do this on interview? Yes, but Eknerwala asked me to about it now. Randomized solution similar to minimum and closing disk idea. But minimum and closing disk is very offline solution. Here we have something with updates. What is my words per minute? Around 100. I don't see that randomized solution using a two-dimensional segment tree. Yeah, this is too difficult. Today we're doing easy problems. Okay. Let's finish with this problem for now. Today is easy. On Thursday I will solve some hard problems, and then I could think more about this. So let's move on. Earlier I got this suggestion. Yeah, and if you want to understand this idea of stumps, solve this one as well. Split a string into the max number of unique substrings. Is n very small? Oh yeah, 16. Then solution is try all possibilities. This is for sure not a good problem for beginners, because if you want to try all possibilities, maybe even on Leetcode there's problem power sets. Return all possible subsets. You should first try something like this for iterating over all possibilities, then maybe also finding all permutations, stuff like that. And then your next step can be something like this, where given a substring, you need to of length 16. Why is now this at the bottom? Oh, because it's interface from a weekly contest. If you have this, you need to consider splitting it into A and ABC. That was and BCD, AB and CD, ABCD, and so on, all the possibilities. And to do that, you just say that there are 3 possible splits, and any subset of them can be used. So either recursively or iteratively, I will do iteratively, iterate over which splits we use. Let's number them. Let's say that here those would be 0, 1, and 3. 0, 1, 2. So there will be a mask. Recursively, you don't need a mask. This is mask like 0, 1, 0, and it says which of the splits I use. And now iterate over string, over characters. Strings. Current. I will do this. Current, the last substring, plus equal this new character s of I. And additionally, if I have a split here, then this current string I'm building, for example, maybe AB, but then I see, oh, there is a split after B, because this is split I'm using. It's denoted with a bit 1 in mask. Then here strings pushback current becomes empty. And I think we can also do this. Now this will say that after the last character I always split, so that I would gather a string. And now what's left is to check if strings has any 2 different characters, strings. And you can, for example, sort and check for neighbors. If this, then OK is false. This is a Boolean flag. If OK, answer plus plus. You can also type this a bit shorter, like that. I will summarize the solution. We iterate over all the possible ways. There are 2 to n-1 ways to split between characters. Then I want to gather strings, the substrings I got, and there are multiple ways to do that. You can use substring function, just detect where do we split and take substring from I to j. I prefer to go from left to right and just keep expanding. Int, not a function. I missed a character. Can we use combinatorics only? I don't think so. Your answer 39, expected 5. Maximum number of unique substrings. Okay, so it's more like I instead counted ways to do that. Okay, answer is max of answer and strings.size. Can this problem be solved for big N, for big length of the string? I don't know. Really, time limit exceeded. I'm quite surprised. Custom. Because Well, here recursive will be faster. Usually Leetcode has such limit that it's possible to solve a problem with Python, and then C++ really, there are no issues with getting things accepted. What is the length of this? 3? Is this the maximum? 16? My complexity is 2 to n minus 1, and then here I sort strings, but their total length is 16, so it shouldn't be bigger than 2 to n times log of n. Solved a different question. It was the same. I have two possibilities now what to do. I can either make a recursive solution out of it, and it will be faster, or I can try to squeeze the constant factor here. Why is recursive faster? Because here for every possibility, I go through the whole string. With recursion, I can look at first character and branch into 2 ways, and so on. So it isn't really the case, I'm simplifying, but iterative is at least n times 2 to n, because for every possibility you go through the string. With recursion, maybe we can do 2 to n. Okay, what can we do? I can do this set of strings, strings.insert of current, and this dot second tells us if it was really inserted. If that's not true, then break, and OK is false. OK is true. We don't need this. A moment ago it was half a second. Something wrong with brackets now. I'm not sure if that's faster. It is 3 times faster. What about unordered set? Is there a hash function for strings? No, it's slower. For a very small number of elements, the logarithm from set is quite slow. Damn it. I don't see anything. All test cases passed but took too long. So at least I'm not far away. Maybe submitting again will give me accepted. No. And I'm not even told a test where I time limit exceeded, because likely just the sum of all tests is a bit too big. If pop count of mask smaller equal answer continue. Okay, let's do this. Oh, because this I see. If the number of splits is just the number of strings, so maybe answer. This is then if there are 5 splits, it means 6 strings. And now if maybe answer is smaller than equal answer, continue. Okay, thank you, Alex. Here runtime beats now 95% of submissions with the same time complexity. Great. Should we also do recursive version, or should we move on? They wanted backtracking? Really? Is there editorial? How do I access editorial? I guess go to problems 1593, open it here. No solution for this question. I don't like Leetcode problems and contests. What about discussion for this one? Recursive, C++ brute force. Okay, this is also recursive. Really went downhill after I left a year-ish ago. I think in particular it's very important that there should be editorials, well-written editorials. For sure right now I like BinarySearch.com better than Leetcode. But I think Leetcode did made a very good choice with those weekly problems. I think a lot of people participate in that. It started in April or so. Yeah, I think I'm done with this problem, though you could make it recursively. Go through the string and decide about 5th character, then decide about 6th, 7th, and so on. Can we post suggestions from BinarySearch? Sure, you can. Okay, I see one suggestion from StylePoint. Minimum number of k consecutive bit flips. I don't know if I like bits. I like the gradual increase of difficulty in Leetcode questions. Yeah, BinarySearch.com, at least to test problems, they don't get the difficulty right. What is greedy? Leetcode, Alex, BinarySearch? Or the problem? This problem? Min bit flips is greedy. Well, greedy problems are still important. Actually, greedy is the most difficult thing from competitive programmers, maybe. When, for example, I tried the speedrun and also Alex was there. Then among 30 Leetcode problems we did, it was May challenge or something. We wanted to do them in 1 hour. I was stuck in 2 problems, I think. And one of them I remember was something with stringly related, where it was greedy, stack, going from the end, something like that. But anything like prefix sums is so standard, so easy for competitive programmers, while using smaller space complexity or doing things greedily, it is more difficult for me compared to other problems. There is almost no way that I will not be able in 10 minutes to solve a standard problem from an interview, unless it's like greedy or about space complexity. You shouldn't have Google Code Jam finalists just barely solving the contest in time. True. Like, the fact that I was stuck in second problem for 20 minutes, trying some divide and conquer, but it was difficult, trying this other thing, but it was difficult, that's a bad sign. But they just, I think, messed up the intended solution in the last BinarySearch.com contest. Okay, what do we have here? Let's do on bits. So you vote for your own suggestion. This one. It showed up in Google Amazon. Okay. Time to finish K tasks. Unique binary search trees, product of splitted binary tree. I don't know which one is better. If you tell me which of these two is more interesting, I will check out it after those three. No, you don't need to be good at competitive programmer to get to Google. Wait, did I close some problems I wanted to solve? No. No. Oh, it's here. K-bit flip consists of choosing a continuous subarray of length k and simultaneously flipping every bit. I know this problem. Didn't I solve it? I didn't. Yeah. There are a few insights you can have to this problem, and for sure one can invent several modifications of this one. But here, if there is the initial binary sequence and they allow you to flip a substring of fixed length, if you flip the same substring twice, nothing happens. So it's only for every substring you need to decide whether you need to flip or not. And that's actually very easy to decide for the first substring. Because if there is one here, you need to use this. You need to flip this prefix. Let's say you do it. Then there is 0, something here, and for sure you will not use this substring again because you would mess up the first bit. Then you take a look at this substring. If there is 0 here, you don't do anything. If there was 1, you would apply this flip. Move on. Now third bit. The only remaining substring for which we can apply the flip to modify this bit is this. So we can make a choice now. If it's 1, then make a flip, and so on. Similarly, if I told you that there is this sequence 4, 10, I don't know, 7, 1, 3, and I told you that you need to make all numbers odd, you can increase 3 consecutive numbers by 1. This is the same problem. Exactly the same, just the parity of numbers matters. So here we know that the first number is bad. The only way to fix it is to increase it by 1 along with second and third. I will increase all of this by 1. 5, 11, 8. Now we look at this number. Oh, it's good because it's odd already. Now we look at this number. It's bad. I want to make it odd because it's even right now. So I fix it. And the only way to do it without messing the previous numbers is to modify this. 9, 2, and 4. And here, if that was the full sequence, then the answer would be no, it's impossible. Because there is no way now to fix the two last numbers. You can do this in O of n instead of n times k. Yes, that's possible. Just this understanding is very important. But if we deal with intervals, then what we can do is, for example, use partial sums. Here it will be kind of partial XOR. One solution is something like this. Something. If a of I is bad, then flip everything from I to I plus k. And then check if you manage to fix everything. Just here there must be a limit such that we never go outside of the array. And here check if a is vector of int size n0, just return true. We can do this as well. But for such big limits, this will get time limit exceeded. But now, thanks to understanding, you have to make all ones. There is no 0. Thank you, Gupta. So if this is 0, I need to fix. and return whether this is all ones. And these dots is just to check that I can still do something. Yeah, but this thing I can modify, I can do with partial sums. That's one possibility. But this is a boring solution. I know a better one. Which combination is used for reopening closed tabs? You can learn such stuff by Googling those questions, you know. So yeah, one boring thing is to do something like prefix XOR of I plus k, maybe. XOR equal 1, maybe prefix XOR of I. And as we go to the right, we just, of course, the next number we XOR with the previous one. That's boring. Let's not do this. Instead, there is this other nice interpretation where what if I don't want to handle modifying a big subarray? That's bad. Let's do something smarter. When I have this sequence, what really happens when I modify this interval is that, well, everything here is flipped. It would be nice, though, to only modify it in two positions, something like prefix sums. And often when we modify interval, we can say that only two places changed if we look at differences of two consecutive elements. What if I replace this sequence first with information whether two consecutive elements are different or not? Those two are different, so 1. Those two are the same, 0. Different, 1. 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Actually, this is the same as prefix XOR, so just it's another interpretation of the same thing. And now modifying this, doing something for this interval of length 5, because I flip every bit, including like this pair. This state between them doesn't change. They were different, they will still be different. The thing that changes is this relation and this relation. So I only change this bit to 1 and this bit to 0. My operation changed into, now I can take, in this new yellow sequence of differences between two consecutive values, I can take two bits distant by k, and I can flip each of them. Let's see what implementation we will have from this. Oh, actually, it's not swapping x and y. Maybe this is a bad example and it's easy to here understand it incorrectly. If those two yellow bits were the same, and let's see this case. I will copy paste this. Let's say that this is 1 and 1. Then yellow things were here 0, 0, and now you need to understand that what happens when we do red interval is the state of those two changes. So just this bit needs to change. So from 0 it changes to 1. I see how a moment ago it looked like we swapped those two bits. It's not true. We change each of them. We flip them. So from 0 to 1, from 0 to 1. Just each of them independently changes. Now do an FFT on the array, convolute it, and treat our convolution of k. Easy. Exactly. Oh, you mean that for every k we can solve this problem, maybe? Maybe we are able to solve this problem for every k, or maybe not. I think for every k we will just care about bits distant by k, and the XOR of them should be 0 or something like that. N log n. But we don't only start from the beginning. This will be quadratic. Or I think I see how to do it faster than n square with some bitwise operations, but I don't think n log n is necessary. So to do in a moment, solve for every k in faster than of n squared total. That in a moment. Yeah, but regarding this thing, now the implementation will become quite easy. I want two conditions at the end. Because I want all ones, if I want the final white sequence to be just this, then yellow sequence must be zeros, and additionally the first white must be 1. If those two things are true, then the white sequence is all ones. So if a of 0 is 0, apply this. Do I need to count? Yes, I need to count. Now this is 1, so I create a second sequence, let's call it B. This is the yellow sequence. Now for every bit, if b of I is bad, b of I is not b of I, and also b of I plus k minus 1, this is number distant by k, no, just plus k, is not b of I plus k. And because I want to use this, I will just, as a condition for a for loop, have I plus k smaller than n. And this. If b is equal to all zeros, I wanted yellow sequence to be all zeros, return answer, otherwise return -1. And if you really understand what happened, then you should see that yellow sequence is actually the same as prefix XORs. Runtime error. Overflowed. Some of should be if b of I is 1. Yes, should be that. But also I'm doing something wrong. Can k be bigger than n? No, it cannot. Let's binary search where segmentation fault happens. Not here. Here, for every I. Oh, +1. I wanted to run code, sorry. Okay, so is this because something is also wrong here? Yeah, I see. I plus k is more than n minus 1 because that's size of b. Maybe this will be a bit safer. I mean, it explains more what happens. I want this to work. K equal to 1 might be a special case. We all ones. Yes, but yellow sequence says what is the difference. If I want the first sequence A to be this, then the first element must be 1, and then B must consist of 0, 0, 0, 0. That's the differences. You actually want an n minus length difference vector, I think, not n minus 1. It would be... I don't see why. I mean, I create the full vector of differences, and then just I say that modifying three... I see what I did wrong. Modifying 3 consecutive elements, it changes... Like, modifying those 3 elements would change 2 zeros distant by 3. No, that's fine. But I fixed the first element here, and I think that will not change. With this operation, I fixed the very first element. Then I have n minus 1 differences. Each of them defines the next number. Like this defines the n minus 1 remaining elements. But anyway, for k equal to 1, every input should be solvable. So something is wrong. If I have print x, print new line, run code. Let's see what sequence B do we deal with. 0, 1. I think I understand. There is one more operation here I can do. This should be smaller equal. Because if I have sequence A and I have sequence B, in particular I can do an operation on 3 last elements, let's say k is equal 3. Then this will change this difference and this non-existing difference, and I don't care about it because already previous differences, they define what happens in sequence A. Modifying those 3, it's about modifying only this. So I need to do this, and just here do that. With k equal 1, you change the same bit twice, right? No, it's I and I plus 1. That was fine. So it wasn't that k equal 1 is special case for me. It was that modifying my program was not able to modify the very last interval. Okay, now it works. It wasn't really an elegant and easy solution. I spent quite some time on it. But also, it's not that this problem was very easy to solve in linear time, right? Was it hard? It was hard. That's some neat code. Hint. They also create a new array. This is array of prefix XORs. No, is it? Yeah, they do running partial sums. This is some kind of array, and they keep knowing prefix XOR. They modify something k elements in the future. So it's that first possible solution. But I think it's also difficult to get this to work. You will need to worry a lot about plus minus ones. Okay, done. I see that people didn't really like it. Oh, the editorial. That is. The problem was liked, editorial was not. What now? Let's say that now the end of the stream I will solve some easy problems. I have, let's say, 1 hour left, hour and 15 minutes. short break now, 5 minutes. Then we'll do some easier problems. I don't like how now two last problems, like for the past half an hour, I'm only doing complicated stuff. Yes, you can suggest, just it should be easy. In particular, I will read this, but we'll only solve it if it's quite easy. This is easier, so I will also consider that. But yeah, as I said, 5 minutes break. And then some easier problems. And after that, at the end, I will set up Twitch points in bot. Though then maybe I need to first decide if for sure I want to keep using stream elements, because there is also Nightbot. I think Nightbot is more common. I mean, I saw a lot of people using Nightbot. Maybe Nightbot is for some reason better than stream elements, I don't know. And actually give me a longer break. After break. And TwitchBot. Yeah, see you in 9 minutes. Hello, hello. I will check out the suggestions in a moment. Should change to Snapdragon 69. Oh yeah, the K version. Let's talk about it for 1 minute. But the more streamers there are in algorithms programming, competitive programming, the better. I hope that this turns into something quite, I don't know, mainstream, or at least that it will be common that high-rated participants stream a lot. No, and not only screencasts. Screencasts don't have interactivity of streams. Yeah, the last thing I was doing here is this to do. Okay, 1 minute about it. Then I move to easy problems. And regarding the idea of points, I can turn it on in 1 minute by just clicking on. Say this, let's call it rating, amount, follower, bonus. You get many points. You will receive 5 points for 10 minutes. Okay, let's say you get 30 for following. Hosts. What was host? Oh, I know. $20 for hosting. I don't have tips. Save. Okay, that's it. Eventually I will get back to this and I will see how exactly this works and whether I can do something with that, and we will introduce betting. Now, every K faster. Here, for this problem, in this problem with B, I think that even to say possible or impossible, we just care about for every K, for every starting bit from I to K, I care about parity of A of I plus A of I plus K, I plus 2K, I plus 3K, and so on. And I can do that with bit masks, I think, maybe. For possible, impossible, I think it just are there an even number of bits in each sequence like this, except for the last bit. Yeah, it's this, I agree. Lactose Intolerable asked, did you do all 995 problems this stream? No, I did not. I thought about some speed run, like solving 200 problems in a day, all problems in a week, or something like that, but it will not be pleasant. I think, John, other than maybe dividing complexity by 32, you cannot do something like that. Maybe square root. No. You need to check K values for each K, even if you could compress the sequence somehow. Yeah, but to divide the sequence by 32, I mean, maybe this is possible, you know, and then I will just check if there is any 1 in a binary string. Maybe this is possible, but I don't think we can do better than that. Something with number theory. Even solving for, if k is possible, then all its divisors are also possible. I agree with that. But even checking just all primes, you know, the number of primes up to n is this. So if we magically do something with primes, divisors, stuff like that, for sure this way we will not get better than that. Because n divided by log n is the number of primes up to n. Now that we scared all my default target audience, because I was going to do easy coding interview, maybe let's do those easy coding interviews. This is not really the runtime of Sieve of Eratosthenes, but that's something different. N log n in Sieve is another thing. This is something else. But let's just forget about it. I will close this because it's marked hard. Is this easy? Pink Boy suggested this. No, I'm not doing code forces. Sagar and Wine suggested this. One of those two problems maybe. And Obito said that this is easier, but is it really easy? There should be some stats about the real difficulty, not how they mark it. So I could kind of compare, like average solving time by the top. Maybe this is a good statistic. Why are you sad, Pink Boy? Oh, because you were the one who suggested code forces. Sorry about that. Leetcode and BinarySearch today. I will read this, but if it's difficult, then skip. You're given, there's this blah blah blah. Take continuous sublist of length size and increment every element by 1. This might be a cool problem. You're given a sequence k times, take interval of size 3 of this size and increase everything by 1. Or is it a difficult problem? Maybe we will do binary search. If this involves binary search over the answer, it's already quite difficult. Or some greedy or binary search and then greedy. That's my guess for now. There are numbers. In particular, we care about the minimum value at the end. We want largest minimum value. So if there are some small values here, like 2 and 3. And I deal with interval of size 4. It might make a lot of sense to increase both of them at the same time. But maybe there is also something quite small here, and then we need to switch to this interval. And I'm pasting link in the chat as well. This is maximize mean value. Can we choose, what do we do? Maybe we go from, if n is so big, then we cannot repeatedly, and k is big as well, we cannot repeatedly find the minimum element and do something like that. For complexity, for the speed, the only thing we can do is go from left to right and do stuff. Now, if this is maybe the other way, 3 and 2, then we don't know if we should increase this number at all. Yes, if k is big enough, then we will do this. In particular, it seems difficult to decide about this first value. And maybe we will use the same trick we used in the previous problem, where we need to in some way greedily decide only looking at this number. So, what about this? If I know the answer, if I know that I need to get the minimum value in the sequence should be 5, so everything needs to be raised to at least 5. Often when thinking about problems, don't think that you know the whole sequence. If you go from left to right, just taking the previous problem, just let's focus on the first element. I know that I need to raise it at least by 1, and this interval is the only possibility to do it. Maybe this is too easy of an example. Let's go with minimum value 6. And let's try to understand if I can raise everything to be not smaller than 6. So I will do +2. I need to do it, at least +2 here, because no other interval can increase u. And then, after I did it, I updated all other values, I check the second value. The second, after this update, let's say it's 8. And already it was the updated value. The first one is also 6, but it doesn't matter anymore. I don't need to update the first value actually. Check the third value. The third value after the update, let's say it is only 3. So what do we need to do? We need to raise it by 3 to make it 6. It doesn't make sense to keep increasing this because those numbers are good already. So I will now increase this by 3. Then this turns into 6. And I could keep going to the right. Kind of like in the previous problem. And I can count how many operations I use this way, how many times we do something for interval. Here it's already 2 plus 3, so 5 operations I already counted. And yeah, we can binary search over the answer and check how many operations we need to get answer equal to 6. If k is 7, and here I will compute the number of operations needed is 5, I see that yeah, it's enough. I'm allowed 7. So I can reach this answer, and maybe even I can get better answer. And here, because we do what? Maximize the answer, I will now try to value 7 or more. I will binary search. Yes, it's a very nice problem, in my opinion. Would be even nice for like code forces round. Not easy. Let's try to choose the next problem to be even easier than this. But I can solve this. Why don't I have any template? I don't want Python. I am logged in. This is read only. Register for the contest. How to enter the contest. Oh, the button. Cool. A, size K. I'm a bit scared to use longs. Can it happen that I will exceed something if I use that many times and increase? It is possible. So let's call it temporary A. Maybe tests are created in such a way that it's not an issue. But if some element of A is already big and I increase K times, then it can exceed int. And there is some lag right now when I type. I don't like it. sometimes I need to type 2 characters to see it. I don't know if you see it as well. Actually, if you get 30 FPS, is it possible that I type 2 characters before you see it? 100 words per minute is like 500 characters per second, per minute. So that's 10 characters per second. Around that. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, you get character per 3 frames on average. It's a server-side editor, yes, just like Leetcode. Oh, it lagged by like 5-10 seconds. I think maybe it's some issue today with their server. Not sure about that. It's a bit annoying if you type fast. I always copy paste from my own editor. Yes, but with Leetcode contest, if you want to get a good place, you don't have time for that, really. Because locally, you would need to maybe create a main to run something. I used to do the same. Just when I started participating in Leetcode contests, trying to win, I needed to switch to their editor. But I assume that 90% of real competitive programmers, they just use their own editor. Same thing in HackerRank. HackerRank has an editor on their site, but I always use my own editor. If a problem is easy, like here, BinarySearch, Leetcode, then it's kind of fine to use the built-in editor. Okay, BinarySearch the answer. And from 0, I don't even know if values are non-negative. That's a bad thing about BinarySearch. Oh, in topics there is BinarySearch. And now I typed something and I need to wait for 5 seconds. That's a bad thing. Very random question, but how often do you get your haircut? Around once a month. I'm typing something, while low, smaller equal high. Interesting, so I could as well maybe turn off my monitor and don't look at it at all. Would that change anything? I tried that once or twice in the past, where not looking at monitor, I tried to solve some very easy problem or implement DFS. It isn't impossible. Try changing browser. Optimized haircut frequency. For a lot of things like standard chores or this thing, it's kind of optimal to almost never do it. Vacuum your house once a month, get a haircut once a year if you want to save time. Maybe it's not only about time. They can give you negative integers. Yeah, I don't know. Would they not put that in sample? Was thinking the same about optimizing showers. Sure, but once a month or once a year? This will be better. Let's assert that this is let's not assert. This should not overflow because this will be long. The division by 2 will be in the proper interval, so it's fine. Just here, sometimes I get rounding down, sometimes up if I deal with negative numbers. This will work for my template of binary search, but if you want to avoid it, there is also this way, low plus high minus low over 2. Or low plus high shifted binarily by 1. A lot of ways to do that. Let's go with this one. It's easier to debug later. This always rounds down. Let's check if this answer is possible to achieve. Because every time I need a fresh copy, I want tabs, not spaces. Not that it would matter a lot. Why are there so many spaces after the line? Do this. If a of I is smaller than mid is my possible answer I want to achieve. Select everything, click Shift Tab and then do it. Oh, okay, sorry, yeah, I could do this. Do I have a schedule? I will have one soon. But on Twitch you can see my schedule and you will see their time on Thursday, for example. I have now read the previous message by Rapid. Like the shower will be once a day, but a quick one, like a car wash. If you want to optimize water usage, then also you should take it with other people. Why the cast on high? Because otherwise here you have overflow. Int max minus int min doesn't fit in int. It fits in unsigned int, but not in int. How many times I need to change is this? And now brute force would be to modify elements from I to I plus size minus 1. At the end, let's check if needed operations is greater than k, then I cannot do it. Let's try to get worse answer. High is equal mid minus 1. This can overflow, damn it. Because if this was int min, then this will overflow. Else, if I have enough operations, answer equal what? It's so annoying if I want to do it properly for all the possible range. If they told me that values are only from 0 to billion and k is up to billion, it would be so much better. Oh, it is possible for sure. I don't need this, because at least I can get the smallest number from the input. I thought that in some cases it's impossible. No, of course it will be possible. Okay, and just here I need to modify this a little bit. and check what happens in the suffix. What's happening? I'm solving this problem from BinarySearch. A nice actually, it's problem from binarysearch.com, and it's about binary search. Binary searching the answer, and it's quite difficult for a coding interview, but it's a nice difficult problem. So for this I will use partial sums. What about that? If for every number try to detect that this is too small, I will make some trick, because the last size numbers is special. If I want to increase 3 in a row, then how do I increase the last number? By decreasing it and the previous numbers. But I think the answer will not be messed up if I append some zeros at the end. By doing this, now I have the original sequence and zeros appended. And let's also do +1. This should be better. Because I don't now need any special if. Do I program in Python as well? Yes, but not that fluently. What's the difficulty of this problem? 1900? Great idea, you're hired. Don't use hacks in production code. Which site you're using for challenges for Python? You can use any, including this one. So prefix plus equal times, that's kind of the current prefix. There is also the subtract thing. I want to add from now to this. Add at I plus size plus equal minus times. Seems good. Do that. Is that it? Maybe. Now when I typed Ctrl-A, Ctrl-V, I needed to wait again 10 seconds. The website is just not responsive. Clicking run also, I needed to wait half a second. Worked for the first test case. Success. All right. Okay, this is a nice, not easy binary search the answer problem. I want to hack you with int max. I think you're, but I used long longs. Long longs are here. Oh, you mean that answer? I can explain to you why I chose here int max and not something bigger. Because theoretically, limits can be such that number in the input will be int max -1, or like just int max, and k will also be big, and then you will exceed it. But we don't print the answer, we return it. Oh, this. Okay, this was my mistake. Does it hurt? It can hurt only, I think that's impossible. Low is mid plus 1. Yeah. My program was wrong. This will overflow. You're right. I wanted to say that answer doesn't exceed int max, so this is not too small infinity. I thought that you're referring to that. But indeed, this should be long if the answer can be int max. I'm guessing that even though they didn't write constraints, values in the array, I guess, are up to billion or something. And also k is up to this, but it's not really, if it's that, then anyway, array is not of single element. People doing coding interview web platforms usually aren't that good at creating edge cases. What about this? Let's take this previous code, and I want to try my own test case, and I want to hack it. I need 2 to 31 minus 1 because that's int max. Now test case will be, I need to edit. This is size 1. Let's say we can increase by 1. This will be 6. Answer fits in int barely. But for int, I might get infinite loop, and I will get time limit exceeded. It worked. Do I understand why this works? Should be time limit exceeded, I think. If an interviewer told me, yeah, you have a mistake here, you can overflow, I would say, oh, you're right. Why am I printing things multiple times? Yeah, we have here, we have infinite loop. This seems to go forever. Maybe I looked incorrectly. Let's run again. Oh, it was time limit exceeded. Yes, it is. It's just here. I thought that the answer is correct. Okay, so my solution indeed doesn't work for this case. It's just that I didn't see this. I think this verdict should be in color, red or something. And I bet if we do it like that, it will work. I was bamboozled, so was Snapdragon at least. Confused like topcoder verdict? No, it isn't that bad. Topcoder is more tricky. So let's submit again, just for the sake of it, to submit the correct code. Editorials. Alex has the most upvoted editorial. From 0, so there are no negative values. From 0 is enough. Events, this is my add array. He didn't need to do plus size. Oh yeah, because we don't care about things after n. Fine. Only streaming on Twitch? Yes, indeed. Today is experiment, so will be Thursday. Thursday will be competitive programming and also Twitch only. Stream elements. How are points doing? So I guess that those are people who have just followed. Is there a command for this? Yeah, you can type now exclamation mark points. And also you will be able to use points with betting. But I'm not trying that today. Gamble all. I don't know if there is something like that. There are a few people with much more points than the others because you get points for following. I don't know what happens if you unfollow and follow. You can try. But another way will be to make bets. But I'm not doing this today. Also, don't treat it as something that for sure will hold. Maybe I will decide that, oh, I'm using another bot. What about some easy problem? Problems? Let's solve two easy problems, okay? Machine, smallest pair sum. You're given a list of integers. Consider any pair of integers such that they are not neighbors. Return the smallest pair sum. Okay, that's a fine, easy problem. Find two elements with smallest sum of those two, but you cannot take neighbors. If this is the input, then you cannot take 1 and 1. And there are a few solutions for this. I'm pasting a link. If you're watching this after the stream, your best bet is to just Google problem name and platform. I'm sure that if you Google BinarySearch.com this title, you will find the problem easily in Google. I know at least two solutions for this. One is this. You're given a sequence, and when we look at some number, its value is 3, we cannot pair it up with this one or this one. Then what I can ask is about, I can ask some data structure about the maximum in this prefix and in this suffix. Actually, let's say that the value is 10. I don't like the fact that value was equal to sizes of those two, prefix and suffix. And it is possible to easily construct prefix maximum and suffix maximum. Just prefix maximum, as we go from left to right, we do prefix of I is maximum of itself, no, it's maximum of prefix of I minus 1, comma A of I, right? And you have prefix maxima. Same you do from right to left. You have another array for suffix max. And then as answer, you consider this number plus maximum of prefix max up to I minus 2 and suffix max from I plus 2. Because this is I plus 2, this is I minus 2. Assuming that this is I. Easy. If that's an interview, then you might get a follow-up. What about constant space complexity? Not counting the input. And let's say you cannot modify the input. And that's also possible, because here we create two additional arrays. To get this, you can forget about suffixes completely. It's enough for every number to find the best number before it, so up to I minus 2, just find the best one here, because whatever the solution is, you will find it eventually. If the solution, the best pair, is this, A and B, then when you are at B, you will find the solution by taking maximum from this prefix. You don't need to go for left element to find the best right element, and from right find the best left. It's enough for every I, and I will implement it. I will assume that numbers are non-negative. Answer maximize, answer and pref max up to I minus 2, A of I plus this. It's roughly this, but, and I can create array like this, but I can also just, as I go from left to right, I can keep updating pref max like this. When I'm at position 5, I say that my prefix now also includes A of I minus 2 at position 3. So, and then it's a single variable. And let's start from 2, because that's the first element when I can match it with something on the left. Yep, we don't need suffix, indeed. Suffix, I wanted to say instead of suffix. Why is this wrong? Your result, oh, I minimize. So prefix minimum. What's... If this was a contest, then I would not even change the name of a variable. I just want to make code nice. We need to minimize the sum. Yes, indeed. Okay, that's nice of one space solution. And this is one possible approach. There is another, and it's more useful in some harder settings where we need to do something more complicated than just take something not being my neighbor. It's hard for me to now think of an example of that, but I remember that it is often useful in bottom-up 3DP or something like that. So it doesn't matter too much. I will just show you an alternative solution to this one. Instead of doing this thing with prefixes, let's go for the sequence one and let's find 4 smallest elements. Maybe 3 is enough. 4, I think 4. And let's say that those elements are here. It doesn't matter what are their values. It only matters that there are, let's say, 4. It will be O of 1. So we go once through the input and we remember 4 smallest elements. Now, for every position, when I'm here, I will say that I want to find the smallest number in the array, excluding myself and those 2 neighbors. So smallest except for those 3. But if I remembered 4 smallest elements, and let's say I have such a list, that there is something of value 100 on position 2. There is something of value 9, I want smallest, so let's go with small values. 10 at position 2, that's the best. Then I have 13 on position 7. I have 14 on position 8, and one more. I have 16 on position 3. And now I ask about I equal to 5, or I equal to 6, let's say. Then I can go through that list of 4 best elements, and I know that I cannot take positions 5, 6, and 7. So the first time when I encounter a number different than 5, 6, 7, first position different than that, I say this is the best number to pair up with me. If you repeatedly will ask about best element in the array, except for some 3 forbidden positions, you can create this list of 4 best elements, and then every time just go through it greedily. If 3 is forbidden, then for sure this list will include the best non-forbidden element. And the whole thing will be O of n, more like O of n times 4, times maybe logarithm of 4. But it's O of n times 4. This also makes sense if, let's say, if you cannot be paired up with element at distance 3 and 7, then you cannot handle that with prefix maximum, but you can handle with this list. I think your answer will always be the sum of 2 from that list, actually. Yeah, because I can even solve here a more difficult problem. For every position, I will find the biggest order element to pair up with this position. But the problem is just to return one best pair. And yes, I won't be surprised if instead of now going for all the positions and pairing them up with something from here, I can just try all pairs of those. And let's consider a proof. Let's do a proof. Maybe the optimal answer, so just answer, is to pair up this value with something from outside the list. And because outside the list there is 17, 4, whatever. Then I claim that I think that's bad. I think we need a list of size 5. Here I will try to draw something where this list is not enough. 3, 5, 1, 2, 6, 7. The 4 best elements are oh no, because I can pair those up. Fine. Okay, so here's the proof. Never mind. I kind of thought about a bigger range. So let's finish the proof why those 4 elements are enough, and I can only consider pairs between them. For 13.7, if it's optimal to pair it up with 17.4, and maybe that's the answer to the whole problem, then position 7 has only 2 neighbors. So only at most 2 elements out of this list will be forbidden. Maybe those were elements with positions 8 and 9, 6 and 8, neighbors of 7. But still, 1 pair will be left, non-forbidden. And I know that this pair is not worse than this one. So instead of yellow line, it's better to use this blue line. Yellow is not necessary. End of the proof. Why? Actually, this was proof. What if the answer is element from this list with element from outside, but my solution already considered only such pairs. Now I say instead of that, it's not worse to take 2 elements from the list. So, thank you Snapdragon for an even easier solution. But when you need to pair up elements with something except for small forbidden list, like 2 neighbors, either prefix maximum, if those are neighbors, or first find 3, 4, whatever you need best elements, then for every number pair it up with something with something from the list, not forbidden. That's it. So maybe one more problem and end of the stream. Is that a good idea? Also, did somebody check if following and unfollowing multiple times, if it gives you a lot of points? How can I get started in competitive programming? You can watch my video. On YouTube, I have a video called How to Start with Competitive Programming. Only once the points are counted. Okay, then if you want points, you need to unfollow and follow, but only once. I won't be angry because of that. Spiral matrix. It doesn't seem to be a very nice and interesting problem, but I will read it. It worked twice, 5:30, 5:40. You get 5 points for every 10 minutes watched. So likely it was just a coincidence that you unfollowed, followed, checked points again, and that you had points increased by 5. It was a coincidence. On a grid, we start at this cell. We walk in clockwise spiral shape to visit every position in this grid. I see. So starting from something, you need to make this snail shape. Whenever it is inside the grid, we need to print it. Can I do the snail shape? If this is the first cell, then I need to increase column by 1, then move down, left, left, up, up, right, right, down. No, not like that. This. It's all about counting how many times you need to move. So I have 1 move down, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Okay, that's a nice looking pattern. It's a good implementation practice if you aren't very experienced with such problems. Let's do it. I will need to start from some cell. At first there's move to the right. So this is to the right and this is 1. First I move to the right. I need to handle operations of rotating by 90 degrees and making some moves forward. And the number of moves forward is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and so on, until I visited all cells from the grid. I guess that grid is my complexity will be 100 times 100, I'm guessing, or 200 times 200, because at every moment we kind of we visited everything in a square surrounding the initial cell. So what matters is the distance from our initial cell to the furthest vertex, furthest cell in the grid, and that's kind of size of the square we need. And let me try implementing this. I see that people check points. Whoa, 50 points. So you get, I guess you can win only if you watch the whole time from this moment I clicked on for this points thing and followed, and that's basically it. Are ties decided in some special way? It seems that ties are random, maybe. Anyway, row, column, they are numbered from 0. Yes, from 0. First, there are directions. I will say that first I move to the right, and one possibility to handle directions is this. Create an array for delta column, and this is 1, 0, minus 1, 0. In the first direction, and first direction is to the right, you need to increase column by 1, so treat it as +1. Then after turning it will be down, so don't change the column, then -1, and so on. Same for delta row. By what you need to change row depending on your current direction. 0, when we face down it's +1, 0, -1. Initial direction is 0. While true, this will be output path. And place back this. While we haven't visited all the cells, we will repeat something. And what do we do here? We have direction and the number of moves I need to do. Repeat that many times. Update row by delta row of direction. Same with column. Delta column of direction. The direction says how you need to update row and column. Path only if you are inside the grid. Those conditions must be met. This is uppercase C. Then we are inside the grid, and we never repeat cells, so I don't need to check if this cell was visited. Push back a pair to this vector, and that's it. Then direction is direction +1 modulo 4. It changes right, down, left, up, right, down, left, right, up, and so on. The last thing is moves. When direction is 0, moves is 1. When direction is 1, moves is 1. Then when direction is 2, moves should be 2. So what about if direction modulo 2 is 1, moves ++. After this, I will increase moves by 1. How many moves forward I have? This should be a vector of vectors, because Leetcode is cross-language, so they cannot use pairs. Push back. Works for the sample test. Snapdragon is first? Why? Are ties decided by Codeforces rating or what? Maybe not Codeforces for you, but like Google Code Gem score. Okay, this is done. So I think we're done with problems. This was the last one. Deciding ties isn't really important in the long run, because it's obvious that you shouldn't watch 100% of anything. That's a very stupid idea. Just if you have any collision, then don't watch the stream. But ties then are either decided by some small timing thing or about some random ID or whatever. I don't know how are ties decided. Can pair be typecasted to vector? I don't know how. He didn't take care of going outside and coming back in from somewhere. It's that just like in the statement, there is this. Nope. There is this spiral, and sometimes we are outside of the grid. So yes, it is possible that my current R0, C0 are just my current cell. It is possible that then coordinates are negative, or they exceed the grid. Just imagine that this is infinite. The coordinates are infinite, not bounded. And just sometimes I will be in the proper rectangle. And only if we are inside the grid, then print this. Looks like ties are reverse alphabetical order. Are they? I think you're right. Yep. So, well, usually online, like in IOI, in the leaderboard, ties are decided by lexicographically increasingly. Here, finally, there is some justice for people starting with Z. I wonder if there are some allowed characters bigger than Z or uppercase Z. Thanks for considering the problem anyway. You're welcome. Something like this, you need to know how to move, how to move through the grid. Another example of something like this is to move with a chess knight, where there are 8 possible moves, and then also you can create something like this. Delta x of size 8 is, let's say, 0, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2, minus 1. And the way I created that, I thought that if there is a knight in chess, on a chessboard, it's... Oh, why zeros? That's impossible. If you jump up and a bit to the right, your x coordinate increases by 1. Then if you rotate this a little bit by 2 or by 2, if you jump to the right and then cell up or down, then down it will be by 1 to the right or symmetrically to the right. And you need to match this with this thing. If up like this, then by 2, 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2, minus 1, 1. Why this has different size? 2. Yeah, you can use those coordinates to move with a knight. 2 cells in one direction, 1 cell in the parallel, not parallel, perpendicular direction. Let's wrap it up. 3 hours and a half, I think, is a good duration, so that I could still talk. I had even 6-7 hour streams in the past if I really had something to do, because today it's not that I need to do some quota or anything, but if I often do such long streams, then my voice will be messed up for a few days. I cannot talk that much for the whole time. For teachers during real lessons in school, it's actually better, because a teacher can talk for some time and then there is some interaction with class. Maybe for teacher in university it's not that good. Why doesn't it load? Something is wrong with my internet lately. What I was going to say is 2 things. First is, In the description somewhere there is Discord link. Also check this out. If you enjoy, I'm stupid. If you enjoyed the stream, then join the Discord for sure. And the second thing is that if you go to schedule, I will try putting my schedule here. Unless somebody here is experienced with Twitch and you say that people don't really visit this page. I don't know. Next stream will be same time on Thursday, this time competitive programming. Because this was coding interviews related. There is also actually, if you scroll down from a stream, people don't really visit that page. Is this better? Because I can also set up the schedule here next to, why am I zoomed in so much? When there are those informations below a stream, when you scroll down, I can put it here as well. Is that any better? If you use Twitch regularly, please tell me. If yes, then I will not care about the schedule page and instead just update this. Under About Pages in a separate panel, that's a better place. Okay, then I'm modifying this. Configure Thursday at then save. Once I'm not live, you will see here, I think, even a countdown to the next stream. But yeah, from now on, treat this as something I try to always update. In the moment, I will remove things from schedule, then from the schedule page. I don't want to do things in two places. It's like avoiding copy pasting. Most people just know the regular timing on the streamers they follow, like XQC, now Alex Wise on Saturday 4 a.m. 4 a.m. for you, and do you watch him? That's crazy. No matter how interesting a stream is, I wouldn't wake up at 4 a.m. That's the worst hour ever. 2 a.m. you can be woke up till then. 6 a.m. I can wake up. Oh, okay, I see. 11 a.m. is fine. So yeah, treat this below stream thing as my official schedule. On Thursday I will also do Twitch only, then maybe get back to Twitch plus YouTube, we'll see that. And after that I will try maybe for the next weeks to have a fixed schedule. It's a bit difficult for me because I don't have, a regular 9-to-5 job where I can say, okay, every Wednesday evening I have time or something like that. My schedule is it's just not regular. But maybe I will try. And I will stream regularly for 2 or 3 times a week. Or maybe 2 times, Tuesday and Thursday. And also sometimes weekend. And then weekend it will be not regular. I will try that because I know it's much more convenient for people to adjust to that schedule if you want to watch. Right now I only kind of decide a day before, okay, this hour is fine. I put that on Codeforces and that's it. See my previous comment suggestion above. Have you considered setting up a Google Calendar with your streaming schedule? It can be used with Twitch extension. Okay. Yeah, I can consider that. Let me add that to bookmarks. Calendar extension, Twitch. I will consider it. Thank you for a good suggestion. How to become a mod? If you're active in Discord server, then I likely will recognize you and then you can be a mod. No, yeah, let's say that this is basic rule. If you're active in Discord, then we can talk. Done. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. Check in Thursday same time for competitive programming and more difficult problems. Subscribe to, follow me here, for notifications. Check out Discord. Yeah, and have a nice day. Are we ready? Yes, thank you for this. Can I give you points for that? Thank you. I would again forget about it. First, quickly, stream elements. Is there a way to give somebody points? Okay, I don't know how to do it now and I want to finish. If you remind me next time when I know already how points work, then you get points and my gratitude. Thank you. Yes, we need to rate somebody. It's a very cool feature of Twitch that you can this way discover new challenges. Is Andrew live? But only Russian. I don't have some...
Мы знаем, что у нас есть f0. Давайте посмотрим f0 от всех иксов. X.
But you can understand a lot of Russian. Like a moment ago he said f0. I think it's f0. Okay, I will not recommend to you a Russian language channel.
Yeah, I see. So the end should not be bigger than this thing.
This is a coach of ITMO, right? The Petersburg University. He's a very, very good coach for ICPC. I'm looking, as always, for something about algorithms perfectly. Programming. Sodding is just bitching about Rust. Any suggestions? Edit probably on the leaderboard. Oh, yes, it's possible like that. Not really convenient though. And I need to find... But I'm doing this mainly because I want to learn how to do it. I need a command for that because now I search, it told me the position, I can go to that page. That's way overcomplicated and not worth it in general. So I can do this. Yeah, okay. I only wanted to see how this works. Back to finding somebody doing algorithms, maybe Leetcode code forces, something like that. Can be even one viewer. Add points, I will try that. Yes, this works. Add points, or actually it says edit points. Add points, deck lol 5. This is done. I don't like this command, to be honest. Set. Does it tell me to do it, or does it tell me that this is done? Code forces and Leetcode are not widely known in Twitch. It's done. Okay, cool. Thank you for suggestion. Okay, add points. I need to remember that. Yeah, quickly, let's choose somebody. Somebody. Sandbox online game dev. I'm waiting for him to say anything.
Works. Let's try if I can use it again. Oh, it's on cooldown.
Okay. Let's go with this. But I would prefer just choose list viewers.
Also, does it damage? Okay,
Maybe next time.
So
Okay, I need to.
Seems to work.
I want to go now, so rate this. Thank you everybody for watching, and see you on Thursday. Bye.